The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at Nine News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at Nine News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at Nine News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Wednesday, April 3rd, and today is National Film Score Day. National Find a Rainbow Day, because everyone's looking for that pot of gold. Child Help National Day of Hope.
Save the children.
That's right. Save the children. Save the children, Rico. You're right about that. Rico, it's also National Chocolate Mousse Day.
Save the mooses.
Mm-hmm.
They used to call me Chocolate Mousse back in the day.
Oh boy. Oh,
I was like, damn, why is that one directed at Rico?
National Walking Day, so make sure you get your steps in today. And it is also National Tweed Day. Make sure you get some tweed in your life. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. But kicking it off first, we are going to move right on into the dope dad himself, making an amazing appearance today because he obviously got some shit done yesterday. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Oh, yeah, Jason. Thank you. Yeah, yesterday was very, very, very dramatic. But thank you for your patience and your grace.
Of course, bro. We got you.
And today I want to talk a little bit about sobriety, right? So 24 years ago, a group of young, drug-fueled amateur stuntmen became a cultural phenomenon with mainstream launch of their over-the-top reality TV style skit show on MTV.
Mm-hmm. What'd you do, Rico?
Is calling out others in media for fueling America's addiction problems by glorifying and normalizing cannabis consumption. Does Steve-O have a point? Steve-O Glover is now 16 years sober after multiple stints in rehab and being forced into having years of his own struggle with addiction being widely publicized and played out for millions of fans and critics to see on television. Per the reporting of Fox News' Gabriel Hayes, Glover says that he backed out of an episode of Bill Maher's Club Random podcast on HBO after the host refused to promise to refrain from smoking during the show. Steve-O said on a recent episode of his Wild Ride podcast that Maher told him that it would be a deal breaker to interview him while not being able to smoke a joint. Steve-O said that he found it kind of upsetting after the actor and stuntman has been sober for 16 years after struggling with addiction. Here's what he said. "I'm a clean and sober guy. It's very important that I maintain my sobriety as it's approaching 16 years. I'm about to be sweet 16. Really, there's nothing I value more than my sobriety. There's nothing more that I protect than my recovery." He criticized the pot-friendly host, saying that I found it kind of upsetting when the Bill Maher podcast reached out and he smokes pot the whole time while he interviews people. I said, I'd happily go on there, but while I'm on, out of respect for my sobriety, could he refrain from smoking pot? He said no, and that it's a deal breaker. Per the article, Maher often smokes marijuana while speaking to his high-profile guests on the show. He has been for the legalization of cannabis for years and has claimed the drug helps him with his writing for his HBO show. In a 2016 interview with the Chicago Tribune, Maher said that he's hardly the only person in this world who finds pot to be a creative aid. But if I'm staring at the blank computer screen sober, I'm thinking, I don't want to start this. It's an assignment. Then as soon as I'm high, which takes about 3 seconds, it's, oh, this is fun. This is an assignment. It's a game. The Jackass star mentioned the frustration that he felt Maher couldn't accommodate him when the other podcast hosts who smoke pot on their programs have done so. Mike Tyson's podcast is called Hotboxing, Steve-O said. Be real. All of these prolific potheads, I've been on their shows, and it wasn't so important to them to blow marijuana smoke in my face. But for Bill Maher, it was a deal breaker. Hayes said that Maher has reportedly refrained from smoking during the podcast before. According to Entertainment Weekly, the Club Random host did not smoke while talking to his guest musician Sheryl Crow. During the episode, he jokingly asked Crow if he could at least hold a joint. As someone who struggled with addiction myself, I personally have no issue with respecting any guest's wishes for me to refrain from dangling one of their vices in their faces. While weed was the catalyst to drag me out of my hole, and I do respect Maher's creative process, it's just ain't it, man. I think it's yet another bad look for Maher, for Bill Maher, who's no stranger to cringe-worthy moves and comments over the years. And I don't care how much of a cannabis advocate you are or how big your platform is, using a recovering addict's wish to not be around weed smoke as leverage to get him on the show is the kind of tone-deaf activism that the world could do better without. Those are just my thoughts on the situation. Big shout out to Steve-O for refusing to take the bait, and congrats on Sweet 16 of sobriety. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Love to hear what the rest of the team thinks about this one.
Bro, go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
I think this might be the first time that I've ever disagreed with Rico on the show.
Oh yeah.
And this is what I'm equating this to. Like, I wouldn't go on Bob Marley's show and tell Bob Marley not to smoke weed when I was there, no matter what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's Bob Marley's thing, right? That's Bob Marley's space. So, like, for Steve-O, like, listen, I respect that. I respect his recovery. I respect that he's living an awesome, better life now and all of those things, right? But I'm not going to bring my challenges, because that's ultimately what that is. Because some people can have addictions and be around cannabis and have no problem with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But other people have challenges with that. So because you have those challenges and all those things going on internally, you want me to change the creative atmosphere and my lifestyle and what I have going on at this podcast for this singular guest. That's the part that I disagree with. Now, like,
yeah, I agree with Luke on this, and I myself am coming up on 14 years clean from opiates. So I'm no stranger to the recovery process and addiction itself. But I first of all, I agree with Rico, but this isn't about holding Bill Maher up as some example of somebody that's cool or anything, because he's cringe all on his own, and that's a whole separate discussion. But to your point, Luke, you know, this is his space, his creative space, where he has guests on. It's well documented that he regularly smokes cannabis on that show. And just as Steve-O has the right to refuse to put himself in that position, Bill Maher has the right to say, okay, that's fine. Then you're not going to be a guest on my show because this is part of the process. But I think at a higher level, I think this speaks, at least in my opinion, of the flaws that I see with the 12-step all or nothing sobriety process. I've never been a fan of that. I didn't go through it myself because I didn't agree with the process. I know that it works for some people, so I'm not trying to discount that. If it helps people stay sober, that's great for them. But I think this is where it turns into a slippery slope, where people expect others to change their behavior patterns in order to comply with their own sobriety, right? Like my question is, would Steve-O go to an after party for some Hollywood event and insist that they don't serve alcohol there?
Well,
Right.
Well, yeah.
I think it's a little bit different in this situation because is Steve-O asking to be on this show? Did he seek Bill Maher out and say, hey, bro, put me on your show? Or was it the other way around?
It was the other way
If Bill
around.
Maher is the one approaching, if it's his staff that's saying, hey, Steve-O, we know you're sober, but hey, come on our show. It's cool. Go ahead and feel uncomfortable. Go ahead and be a little bit annoyed when you're on our show. It's fine. Our host matters more than you do. Fuck that. That's hella rude. You don't ask somebody to come into your home and invite them over knowing that they are diabetic or celiacs or whatever and feed them what the fuck ever. You respect that piece in that space that you invited them to. You create a situation where that you're inviting someone to host. So you need to act accordingly.
I don't know.
But he's not forcing him to smoke, though. It's not like he's being fed food.
Well, this is my
Jason.
thing. This is my thing on this. I think Steve-O is being a big baby about all of this. Now, I totally respect his wanting to be sober and everything else like that. And it's like if you want to maintain your sobriety, then you make certain lifestyle changes to make sure that you are accommodating to your own needs to make sure that you don't put yourself in those types of situations. And
Well, he is. And that's-
no,
that's why I didn't go on the-
but by
He
even
is.
but
He's saying
no,
no,
but
I'm not
hold
gonna
on
do
a second. No, hold on a second. Everybody knows that people that Bill smokes on the show. And so even if Bill Maher is asking him, "Hey Steve-O, you want to be on the show?" Steve-O's answer should have been at the Jump Street should have been, "Oh no, I don't want to do it, bro, because I'm not comfortable with you smoking cannabis around
I
me."
can't handle those situations.
Exactly.
I'm
And
Steve-O.
it should have been.
I can't handle these situations.
Yeah.
I can't
And
handle
on top of that, there's a lot of people that used cannabis as an exit drug. So I don't think it's a fair assumption that just because somebody says that they're sober for anybody to assume that they don't smoke cannabis.
I agree with that
unless
too.
unless Bill knew that beforehand.
It was for
I
me.
mean,
and
listen,
it-
Steve-O's
it- it-
very transparent about his sobriety. He's a hardcore no on everything. That's been in the media for a very long time. So to go and approach somebody who takes that kind of stance publicly.
Yeah, but
and then
now
to
you're
call
assuming
them
that they
out
know
when
that.
They say, hey, I don't really want to be around that for the 1 hour or however long the interview is. Like, it's just
But
kind of
that-
like a slap in the face in a way.
I feel
And
like
I get
that-
it. Bill Maher, I'm not done. Bill Maher, Bill Maher does, this is his MO on his show. This is his thing, right? He can go ahead and have whatever he wants on his show. But you have to acknowledge the elephant in the room when you're asking a guest to come on your show that has this situation. It's a respect thing.
How do you know that they knew
Otherwise,
that,
they're just
Mandy?
an arrogant talk show host.
How do you know that they knew that?
Hey, hold on.
You're assuming that's an assumption that people are really.
The show doesn't know that Steve-O has challenges being around cannabis.
Exactly.
There's plenty of
I'm with
people,
it.
as Phil Hum
Exactly.
just gave an example, that can be around cannabis and have had past addictions that have no problem. So when I reach out to Steve-O, hey, I don't know what kind of mental challenges he has with being around oranges or the color purple or anything like that. I don't know those things. So all Steve-O has to say is, hey, respectfully, Bill Maher, I don't want to be on the show because I know that you smoke. I'm not going to go ask Snoop Dogg not to smoke on his show. That's
Exactly.
just ridiculous to me.
Exactly. I totally agree.
So two things here, Mandy. I'm with
It was
you.
a poor matchup from the jump.
Mandy, I'm with you 100% on your stance here. So two things. Number one, Bill Maher refrained from smoking for Sheryl Crow to come on the show.
But that was his choice.
That was his choice. Exactly.
What's that?
He
That was his choice.
Steve-O is making him not smoke. Bill Maher chose not to smoke.
Hold on.
He respected that shit. He said, hey, look, Sheryl Crow, I'm not going to smoke just because I want you on it.
Sheryl Crow's team had the same request as Steve-O's, and he complied for Sheryl Crow. He made the request, and they knew
Maybe they
that
have a
this
different
was,
relationship,
This
Rico.
was his stipulation, and
that's
Bill
his
Maher said
prerogative.
no.
It's
Yeah,
his show.
it's his show. It's his show. He can do whatever the hell he
That's
wants.
it.
This is poor execution on the parts of the people
Agreed.
who are producing this show and planning it.
Yeah, again,
Representatives
fuck
from both
Bill Maher.
parties should have sorted this out before it got started.
Yeah, Bill Maher's a weirdo anyway, so I don't want this to come across as like I'm like his big
Well, let's be
defender
honest,
here,
they're
because
both
I don't like him. Yeah,
You don't
but
like Bill Maher?
absolutely not.
I can't believe that.
Trash, dude.
After
Trash.
yeah, no, I mean I don't know. Maybe this is just my own
but listen.
recovery path, but like after 16 years, if you can't even be in the room with another substance, like I don't know, like. I do find that to be a little bit interesting. It's not like Bill Maher is on the show over there smoking meth out of a meth pipe. Like,
Right.
Come on.
Right. He's not banging heroin on the side of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's extreme, sure, but it's not. It's just something that should have been sorted out in advance.
I agree
It
with
seems
that.
like a bit of a power move on Steve-O's part too. It seems like a power move on both of them. Both of them wanted the other person to fold.
Yeah, I feel like Steve-O is grandstanding and trying to use this whole situation to get his name back in the media and the spotlight and whatnot. Because I'll tell you what, I haven't heard of Steve-O since
he said he was on two other weed podcasts.
Steve-O is doing
and they
fine,
it.
folks. He's had his own TV series for a very long time. Don't think for 1 minute that he's not wealthy for a lifetime off of Jackass.
I mean, he might have spent all that money on meth. We don't know.
Oh, you know what? And on that, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.